My Love of Life Energy is a podcast created by Anna Scott. Anna knows that every human being sees life uniquely. In this podcast, she will talk to people and learn from them. These conversations are to shine the brilliance of each human being she speaks to. Join her. After each exploration, you will expand on your insights and see truth and beauty.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to my podcast, My Love of Life Energy. And I'm continuing my special series with my partner in Exquisite Being. And we're going to today have a conversation about the 11th gene key. And the 11th gene key, so my partner is Molly Lynch, and welcome, Molly. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Anna. Good morning.
Molly is my favorite person in the world to talk with about the gene keys. And through our conversations this last year, I feel like I've grown so much. So thank you.
Yeah, me too. Our journeys into the contemplative world is has just been so insightful and heart and mind opening.
So today we wanted to explore and contemplate the 11th gene key. And do you want to talk about the 11th gene key, what it is, the shadow,
Right.
gift, and city?
Yeah, the shadow frequency is obscurity. The gift frequency is idealism. And the acidic frequency is light. So I think it's a beautiful one to chat about today.
And what have you seen about it? Like, what have you seen that's really touched you?
Well, I came back around to it last week. I think you had mentioned it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was listening. I decided to listen to Richard Rudd's Contemplation as well as the book Contemplation. And what I really saw this time was the shadow frequency of obscurity. It's just the obscuring of the light based on our own perception via thought. And so what I also felt and saw underneath all that, it was like how fear is it's the one thing that can block the light as far as the experience of light within divine light, central light, the inner light. And so I just really have been sitting with that and finding where I obscure the light through fear and then bringing awareness into that. What do you
I read it again this morning.
And
I've listened to it a couple times because preparing being a good student.
You're so good. You already got an A.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Wow.
But it was so fascinating. It talked about images flooding from the right hemisphere to the left, and the fear and how you talked about Carl Jung and the archetypes that flood in and how, I deny what's there. Like I deny the parts of myself through the history of me, the villain, the abuser, the really mean human being. Right. But the parts that I deny keep pressing on through my dreams, but when I allow them to come in, and I can feel it when I allow them to come in, and I'm just present and open and loving with them, it dissolves them.
Yeah, the experience of meeting the darkness with the light of love, the light of presence, the light of acceptance.
Yeah. And that brings into what idealism is. The darkness is the parts that I say I don't want of myself.
Right. They aren't acceptable or they're scary. I mean, I think that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with like just the fear of it,
Mhm.
the fear of the darkness, or what we perceive as harmful, perhaps, even to feel and experience within our own selfness. What was the other? Oh, and also what he had said about, like you're saying, but like we have to meet those places in order to perhaps have more liberation in our own experience. We have to love those places that we have shunned and pushed away, not only because of fear, because we wouldn't be accepted in perhaps
Mhm.
the culture, the village, the family. Mm,
Oh my God. I just felt that when you said that.
mm,
Is there's this part of me that's in me that I don't want to show, because if I show it,
mm,
I won't be accepted. I'll be kicked out of the tribe.
mhm, mhm.
Like how much I push that down, or we push it down,
Right.
and the
The
shame of it.
denial, right? The shame and the denial of that. And then it manifests in other, obviously in the world, we can see a lot of those archetypes, alive and present for us to deal with on what seems to be an external stage. We're dealing
Mhm.
with it one way or the other. We're not. And then there's trouble, right?
Oh wow.
And what I just sensed with that, and then like into the idealism part, but like the sensing of like suppressing that so deeply, then that just becomes like there's a cutoff, there's a disconnect, there's a separation, not only from self, but from other, from accepting somebody else's, loving someone
Mhm.
else's pain, which I think what darkness could be also defined as pain.
And what I've seen is that, and I think, in the gene keys and I don't know, I'm not an expert on all this stuff, but that what we repress energetically gets stronger. So the
Mm,
parts of myself that I um, I don't know what the word honor, I guess,
mm,
and allow,
mm,
will show up as other people outside of me,
right. Mm,
because that part of me wants to be transformed. It longs to be brought into the light.
mm,
Oh wow, I can really feel it. It wants to be loved.
mm.
Like I feel like, that what's that game where the Wheel of Fortune or something, where all those parts are like they're dark and then they get turned over.
Oh,
It-
is it Wheel? Yeah, it is Wheel of Fortune. Vanna White. Vanna
yeah.
White turning the turning the things. Yeah, right.
But every time I
Mm,
accept a part of myself, like my light gets turned on a little bit more
mm.
inside of me.
Yeah, I love that and metaphor analogy. I don't know which one it is.
Mm.
So as that, that. Mm, well, I want to go to the light, but I think we should go into the idealism but that
Yeah.
there is this place, and I still contemplate this word. I know it can be like a word like idealism gets kind of a bad rap, whatever. But in the interpretation that I experience when I contemplate, it's sort of like I said, we were talking last week, and I was sharing how I saw you as a prism, like you
Mhm.
refract the light, you have the different perceptions of the experience, so you can see the dark, you can see the light, you can see the different aspects, but it's one thing. So as idealism, to me, it's like, as the gift, the activation of that through obscurity opens up a way of seeing and perceiving. Like,
Mm.
I'm going to not only see this in a different way, my choice is to see this in a different way, but to,
Mm.
as we embrace and have the wisdom and knowledge to embrace the dark, the pain, the fear, somehow the prism is more available. The
Mm.
idealism is like the vision is there, enhanced by the light that I'm willing to surrender to, let's say.
Oh, wow. Hmm. When you said that, what it felt like is somebody standing, like I'm standing in a dark room
Mm.
and I can't see the light switch, but I'm committed through my perception to find it.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Like I know
Like
it's
through,
somewhere.
yeah, like I
Mm.
know it's here and I know it's my perception,
Right.
but I'm going to stand in here until I see it. Oh,
Yeah. Mm. And there's like what you're speaking to as well is like, I'm going to stand right here, right here, right here, present with this. It's not external grasp. It's not trying to
mhm.
fix it from the outside. It's not even trying to fix it from the inside. But standing in
Mhm.
presence, like, just show me the switch, guide me to the switch, allow me to see inward.
Yes, that's it. Like I'm seeing it as you said that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a perception in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Say more about that. Like go in, like the perception in your mind.
Um, I was on a call with two lovely people this week, and this one person would have been a training partner for me,
Mm.
like somebody I would have struggled with. And the way this other woman sees this person is with
Mm.
nothing but love. But because she saw him that way,
Mm.
I started to look and I
Mm.
started to see it.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But I had a perception that there was something off balance, or, I'm not going to be, I don't want to be mean, but I had mean thoughts, judgmental. And then when I stood there and looked long enough, I could see what she was seeing
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
and the innocence of it.
Right.
But I had to be willing to stand and look for a new perception and just really see something new
Mm-hmm.
and feel it. Not just like, oh yes, but like, when you see something and you're like, oh, that's it. And your
Mm-hmm.
whole body opens up,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that moment.
Like you saw it through her eyes, essentially.
Right. And then I saw how this person was just a clear reflection of me, or a
Mm.
part of myself I hadn't owned.
And the judgment, the things that
Mm.
judgment being perhaps the shadow, as that lifted, then you're able
Oh,
to see.
yeah. And to feel my shame of myself.
Mm. Mm. Right. It's so powerful to acknowledge those parts. I mean,
Yeah.
and like, can we love that part too? I
Mm.
was in the Las Vegas airport of all places yesterday flying home from a couple days, and it's such an interesting airport, interesting place in the planet. But I had this notion, it's similar to what you're speaking of, is I saw this person and I went into judgment. I did, and I had a whole story. You know how we make up those really,
Yes.
and I thought, wait a minute. I just paused similarly, and I thought, what it can I want the perception change? What can I see here that I can see good? That I can
Oh,
How can I look at everything, or at least try or attempt or start to begin to love, I think, basically. So I looked until I saw it, and I saw it, and when I did, oh my gosh,
oh,
it was so it's like I could love that person. And
oh no.
it just took the disconnect and separation away, and I thought, this is the ideal I want to live in. I want to be that person. And it's going to take maybe a while to wash that window, because the fear of like other, or what I see as other or a threat, it's the only thing that is it's the illusion, the perception of separation. Mm. And Las Vegas is a great place to practice that.
Oh, God. All of life, all those parts. If everybody is a reflection of us,
Yeah.
if there's just one being and we're just a reflection. But my God, thank you for doing that. Like, really, thank you. Like, that's my, like, I just, what's the word? I can feel the energy shift
Mm.
or the color changing,
Mhm.
like to a murky gray brown to a bright yellowy color.
You're the prism.
Mm. Mm.
And
So, go ahead.
well, I just think in that motion, it's like even in that turning, like just shift of directing the light, let's say.
Mm.
If light just is. That's what Richard said in one of them. I don't even think it was the 11th gene key, but it's somewhere he said light is. And I've always felt that as soon as I have heard him say that, I just contemplate on that simply. It's so simple. Like everything is light.
Oh, God, Molly.
And if that's so, there's so much, I'm just going to say power for lack of a better word, the power of light, the power of love. I just associate those, but light first. In the beginning, there was light. And I just think, and so it is. So if we are the prism, if I am the prism of my own
Oh,
reflection,
wow. Holy schmoly.
you just said schmoly.
Well, I was going to swear and I thought I'd clean it up for a second.
You're so decent.
For a change. But
What'd
I
you
just,
feel?
what you just said, I felt what you just said. There's a light in me.
Mm,
And I could feel all the shadows of me.
ooh.
Like what you just said, that I'm a prism. And like through the sanskaras or the histories or misperceptions, I don't know what they are. Carl Jung calls them the archetypes, that are buried deep in my unconscious. And I feel those as they come up and they reflect a different color back to me, but they're all me. And if I can love the kaleidoscope of me, and then I
Mm,
can see the source of me as that light. Oh my
mm,
God, it's such a beautiful image.
mm. The source.
I feel like a little kid right now.
Mm, mm-hmm,
Like
mm,
where I got to play all these games. Like we used to play these games like statue maker in the middle of our court. And we
right.
got to be whatever we wanted to be. We
Mm,
froze in that, but it was play and it was fun. And
mm-hmm,
that's what you just described reminds me of.
mm-hmm. And that, I'll just call it wisdom. I think it's innate, obviously. I think child is innocent. And there's something about the wisdom of that innocence that allows the light just to move freely.
Oh, wow.
And then as the fears grow, as we age or whatever, we learn to either know or remind ourselves that there is light, or where it is, or we don't. But I think what you're speaking to is that there's always a choice, because if you know that light is you, in you, as you choose, you would hopefully choose light, but also
Mm.
as the power to transform the shadow.
Oh my God. This is why I love talking to you. I'm so grateful for sharing this because I can feel the love. If light is, that's what your sentence is, light is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all love. And then there's a moment where I have a choice.
Yeah.
If I remember.
Yes. The idealism is right in that, the remembering. That's where the activation of the gift is, right there.
Oh, wow.
And we've been sitting in still point the last couple weeks together, and the more that I return and remember there, the more that flame, that light, the presence of my consciousness around that consciousness of light grows.
Mm.
The more I focus in that place, are the moments in the airport where I can remember, how do I want to see, how do I want to experience my life, and
Mm.
and by extension, be with the, knowing of that we affect each other so deeply, even in our perception
Mm.
and frequencies. Anyways, another story.
Oh, God. There was one thing that I read in the 11th Gene Key that I thought was so brilliant.
Mm,
Um, it said magic happens when we have an open mind and a structure. And where our bodies are a structure, and if our minds are open, we can create magic because the light comes in. And if we don't have any thinking about as it comes in through our right brain to our left brain
mm,
and follow it, magic happens.
mm, mhm,
But we have so much thinking and so afraid of what comes through and we don't trust it. I
mhm,
don't. But I'm beginning to see that like inside my mind is a projector and a screen.
mm, mhm. Yeah.
And I can start to trust whatever comes through because it's put there for me. Because the source is always the light.
Mm, I love that.
Mm.
Even the archetype of masculine and feminine can be obscure, how we
Mm.
think of the experience of those separate,
Oh, wow.
instead of just the energy of being of one light.
Truth bomb, Molly Lynch. There you go.
I don't know. Just explore what is the.
Oh, well, I think we've done it. The 11th gene key, we got to explore it,
And I just
be
want to say
touched by
one
it.
thing though
Oh,
about light. I think there's, I mean, this the pure simplicity and noticing, just starting to notice light. I'll just say one more thing. Just
say
know,
more.
well, just noticing light can change the frequency. Just looking, not directly at the sun. I mean, some people do that, but just noticing it on a leaf or on
Mm.
somebody's shirt, like just start to notice it. It's transformative, because then we
Oh
start
my God, that's beautiful.
to just be with it in the external, to remember the internal.
Mm. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there's our 11th G key, folks. We hope you've loved it. We love talking to each other, and we want to share this love with you. So enjoy.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.